Are you looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football and basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/bluewire and use code BLUEWIRE. That's code BLUEWIRE at prizepicks.com/bluewire for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Pod Mavericks Group Therapy. I'm Kirk Henderson, editor-in-chief over at MavsMoneyball.com. Thank you for choosing to join me on your Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening. If you are one of our European callers, guys, I got to be honest, I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do or host a group therapy. But the thing about therapy is you don't get any better unless you put in the work. So we're going to put in the work. We're going to talk about this game. We're going to talk about what it means. The Mavericks are now 3 games under 500. It's been well over an hour, and the Mavericks still, Jason Kidd still hasn't spoken post-game. Seems things have hit, we keep saying that the Mavericks hit rock bottom, and the thing about rock bottom is you can bust through it with a jackhammer, and the Mavericks have found that. All right, guys, let's talk it out. Coming up first, we're going to go, and remember, I'm going to go with guys whose names I don't see in here as often first. I appreciate all of my regulars, though. We're going to get to everybody today because it's daytime. Danny, welcome back. It's been a while. Thanks for joining us. How are you?
Hi, Kirk. How you doing?
Struggling. That was as sad a loss as I've felt.
Yeah, it was. Definitely it was. But, for me, the scary part after this loss is that I don't see a clear future for the Mavericks. The bad part of the Kyrie trade is that we are now in Kyrie's hands. So if he resigns, well, then okay, you can try and work out what you didn't work out last offseason. Hopefully, we don't get another JaVale McGee contract again. But if he doesn't resign, I don't know. So this is what's going for me.
So I have I'm not a positive guy. You guys know this, but I just think that the marriage of convenience for the Mavericks and Kyrie in the short term makes too much sense to not worry about it. Kyrie's not going to get a lot. Like Mark Stein wrote about this, that like the market for Kyrie is tepid at best. And I think that the Mavericks, they made an asset play for him. They sent out guys that worked only to get him back. So they're invested in him. So I feel okay about Kyrie. Now, I felt good about Brunson. So what does that tell you? But you're right. Like this is a very uncomfortable situation because when you peak like the Mavericks did last year, the expectations remain high. And to take a step back like they have, like this, is simply inexcusable no matter how you slice it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But regarding what you said, the Mavs are obliged to offer Kyrie the max. They're going to offer him the max. They're as scared as me to lose him, so they will offer him the max. If Kyrie wants to accept it. But, the season, over the season, there was so much indicators that this team wasn't good. There are too many bad losses and too many awful wins, too, But at this point, it's just praying for a top 10 pick or at least the Kyrie resigns and maybe next season they take things more seriously and we can enjoy it more. So that's all I got.
Thanks, Danny. Thanks for kicking us off too. Appreciate you coming up. Okay, Let's go next to Armand. Armand, I've not seen you in here in a while. What's going on?
Yeah, just been very busy, but I had to come on for this
Well, we're
one.
glad you.
So I'm just gonna bring up the tanking aspect because it just makes the most sense. I mean, you're down 3 games below 500, 11th seed. Even if you make the playoffs, what are we gonna do? We're not gonna go far. Either we get bounced out of the play-in or we lose in the first round. Like it's just I was looking at some things. So right now we would be getting the 11th pick, and that would obviously go to New York because it's a top 10 protected. But right above us is Chicago. Chicago's still in playoff contention. They are up by 15 something right now against the Lakers. So they would go up to they would be 36 and 38, and we're 36 and 39. So we would fall down to the 10th spot. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if we do have the 10th worst record in the league, we still get our top 10 protected pick.
Yes. But at that point, you're resting on the lottery gods to not hurt you. And for those who are unaware of this, the Dallas Mavericks, when the lottery was instituted, the Dallas Mavericks have only fallen or stayed where they were supposed to have been every time they've been in the lottery. The Shaquille O'Neal lottery was the big one where at that point, I don't know, the lottery wasn't weighted, and the Magic getting it 2 years in a row is what pushed the lottery to being a more weighted situation. The NBA has since sort of reversed course on that just to kind of prevent tanking. So to me, they have to, if they commit to this course, and just to be clear where I stand, they should. But it's important for all of us to remember that, number one, players don't tank. They don't care. Number two, I don't think what the Mavericks would be doing is tanking because they just suck.
Yeah, no, you do got a point. But it makes sense because think about it. We play tomorrow. It's a back-to-back. Luka's not going to be there. He's going to be suspended a game. I don't know if they're going to take by the tech or not, but I doubt they will. You can rest Kyrie because it's a back-to-back. He's clearly not 100% either. So that's a loss tomorrow against the Pacers. And then Wednesday, you bring both of them back against the 76ers because it's a nationally televised game. Definitely not winning that one. Drop down to 36 and 41. I believe at that point your playoff chances are completely done, and you can just shut down Luka and Kyrie.
Yeah. That would be something. And I've been talking about this with some of our Slovenian fans in my Twitter DMs. And my sort of long-term take on it is Luka hasn't had a real offseason since between his freshman, his rookie and second year.
Yeah.
I don't believe World Cup stuff really, like the games, I don't think start until August, which would mean that he would have the second half he would have April, May, June, and probably April, May, June, 3 months to really rest, rebuild his body, and get into a different headspace because he has played a remarkable amount of basketball going back to the start of the 2019-20 season.
No, for sure. He definitely deserves the rest, and it makes the most sense. I mean, especially I was thinking, like, let's say you do get that top 10 pick, even if it remains the 10th pick, there's still a lot you can do with that. You can draft a guy, you can trade it for more assets. I mean, like just having that first round pick can do a lot for you this offseason.
And for me, I desperately want, I love the draft. It is like free agency turns me into a fucking crazy person because we all have such unreasonable expectations and we never get what we want, like ever. Mm-hmm. But the draft, every now and again with the draft, something pans in a way that it's just fun. Like that's why, look how hyped we are about Jaden Hardy, you know? Like having something to root for and become lunatics about in a way that's not harmful. You know, where it's like, oh, are we going to go get this guy? Oh, the Mavs can't sign him. The Mavs screwed up again. Like with the draft, you can go select somebody and it can be your team. Like it's the one bit of agency that a team can have. So.
Yeah, no, it makes the most sense. I hope the front office is aware of this too. Cause I mean, ain't no way we're winning the next 2 games. We're going to drop to 36 and 41. Playoff chances are done by then. I don't know mathematically if we're going to be eliminated or not. but shut Luka and Kyrie for the rest of the season. Kyrie's clearly not 100%, so it just makes sense. On top of that, Luka isn't either, I believe. So let them get their rest. Season's over. There's not really much where you can go. So I'm all in for tanking.
Well, you got anything else for us, friend?
I believe that's it. I mean, hopefully I'll hop on for the next few games if I'm not able to. It was a fun season, I guess.
It was certainly something. Thanks so much. We'll talk soon.
Have a good one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we got some other folks in here. Let's go with Max. Welcome to the show, Max. How are you? Give Max a second to find the unmute button. If you're in the chat, you want to pull back out to the main page, and the mute button and the speaker request button are right near each other on the bottom. There we go. Max? Great audio. All right, Max. Come back up if you want to. Let's go to Mr. Gomez. Welcome to the show. Hopefully you're going to be able to find the unmute button there. Welcome.
Cancun 3. Hi, what's
Welcome
up?
to the show.
Man, thanks. I'm so done with this team. But it's nice to not have to hope anymore.
It's nice that hope is dead. I agree.
Yes. Just pack it in. Losses don't need to be as heartbreaking anymore. It's going to be awesome. Watch Hardy and Green develop. And get some hopium for the draft.
That's right. Like let's throw out Josh Green and Hardy and let them play 35 minutes a game and just see what happens. If they win those games, I'm not going to be mad because then we're seeing something from guys who we need to contribute.
Yes, and also if we lose then, we're also not going to be mad because still they're developing and getting some playing time and we're not supposed to win either way. So it's going to be nice. Pack it in for this year and better luck next year because we're not going to do anything in the playoffs anyway. So, yes.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. You got anything else for us?
No, thank you, man.
Of course.
And thanks for providing the space for us to vent.
Absolutely. I'm really glad you guys joined. We'll talk soon. Let's see here. A couple other names I don't recognize as much, but I invited my buddy Jason in, so we're going to let Jason cook. What's up, guy?
Hey, what's up? It's funny because I don't know if I have a lot to cook with. It's like, it's digging and being like, I wonder how much worse it could get. And I think a few games ago is when I hit the bottom. And so, and now it's in like, as a fan, it's just in like, shake your head and kind of chuckle and be like, of course, kind of mode, like, I don't know. You send me the link. What are you feeling, buddy?
I don't know. Where I'm really at is I'm fearful of the edge of the abyss because
right.
Somebody said to me recently that the Mavericks have so many problems that somebody like Dirk and then Luka papered over for years and years that if you get to a point to where you have to make big changes, what are the big changes to make? Do you fire Kid? If you fire Kid, who do you bring in? Somebody I really respect told me recently that you don't fire your head coach unless you know who your next one is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same thing with the, it's like, I know that a lot of people want us to pack it in for the season. And I was texting with some knowledgeable friends in the league. And it's like, well, what if, do you trust this team to do a proper tank? I don't know. Like, I don't know if I do. And so it's a very strange, peculiar situation,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only sort of new revelatory things that have happened, and for any fans listening, first off, you deserve a lot of credit for providing this space because it's good. It's a part of the fandom experience. And I've been kind of going through I turned full Kirk serious face a few days ago. It feels great, by the way. I see why you do it. But it's like the amount of fans that have come at me to be like, I'm a bad fan. we are not bad fans for being in here and expecting better from our team. And this is not a novel or a new concept for fans to be upset with a lot of the decisions that were made, whatever that is to you, whatever. But it's like this team, we are the shareholders, okay? And it is okay for us to voice that we are unhappy with things. It is okay for us to object authority, or whatever the hell that shirt said. I don't even remember.
I can't. Well, shout out to Cuban for wearing a question authority shirt, because it just provides me with so many jokes.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like it's exactly. There was something ironic about the sort of front office that complains most about its fans, possibly. Any that has
question,
that is upset about objecting authority. It's like, look,
I have a real simple idea. Commit the resources that you use to marketing and to media relations and to getting the message out to that the Mavs are, that everything is fine, that everything is going to according to plan, which is basically what we've heard every offseason since 2012. Yeah. Put those resources towards being a fucking better basketball team and see what happens.
Well, that's exactly right. Was it you that told me this? I don't remember, but basically that the Mavs are always a few years behind.
It was not my take. Mike Paolucci, editor over at the D Magazine, told me that, and I love it. Yeah. I think it's a great take.
I really do love it, and that's really stayed with me for a while because the hiring of Nico, like obviously I don't know Nico, and it's really hard to judge him still. I know that sounds like crazy, but like what he is, and about Kyrie, about Nico, and like who these people are as players and as businessmen or whatever, it's actually hard to even judge them because the decisions to hire them are what, to me, Nico was hired because he was a Nike exec, meaning that your priority is to actually go after free agents. Your priority is to attract big names via somebody who's been doing that basically his whole life with Nike. And it's like, I get that, but also look around the league and just look at the teams that are thriving in the way that they were built. Very few of them were like big free agent moves.
No, everybody, but like that's what's been baffling about this. The draft is what the best teams have built through.
Yeah, at least they've built their culture through the draft. And then you bring in, like, I think the best free agent signing or trade that's happened in the last, 4 years was probably Drew Holiday to the Bucks. Like, it's little things like that that really make these organizations thrive and everything like that. And that mindset of we're going to get a Nike exec to do all of this, that to me is just showing that you're stuck in 2012. You're stuck in LeBron decision mode. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's because DeAndre and Darren Williams and all these people said no, and there's like a monkey on your back kind of thing. Like, I don't know what it is, but there seems to be some sort of like, we're living in the past, man. We have to start building these teams, and that's why I think throwing away continuity, hopefully this season, is a cautionary tale to say, hey, like maybe we would rather have guys that know the system, know the offense, know kids' defensive schemes. Maybe we would rather have that for the time being. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because injuries are going to happen, and you're going to need guys there that can roll. So, anyways, I just this is a staggering sort of like situation where I don't even know how to untangle it.
Well, it makes me really sad. It makes me very sad that every single thing I have worried about since 2019, when they fucked up the opening of free agency, has more or less come to pass. And honestly, Kidd is not really high on the priority list of problems. Unfortunately,
that's what I said the other night. Yeah, it's not a Kidd thing right now. It is.
I mean, it might be, because it seems like he doesn't. It seems like he's lost the team.
It's not a Kidd. Yeah, but it's such a low, like you said, it's a low priority because it's an It's just a hard. It really starts with the roster, and it really starts with the culture, and it really starts with that stuff. Really, really matters. I mean, I said, okay, I'm going to really try not to say the J word anymore, Jalen Brunson, but the amount on which he brought steadiness to this team cannot be overstated. Like the on-court stuff, amazing, whatever. But I mean, there was a hierarchy. He was a culture guy. Like, and those people are rare in the NBA. The more we spend, I spend time doing this podcast, the more it's like very, very clear that culture guys are
the
very
season's
difficult.
too long. I've been talking about that all day today because I made a bit of a misstatement talking about, there was a weird quote about one of Luka's former coaches when he was at Real Madrid that was like the translation was a bit funny of something he said. And I made kind of an offhand comment about, makes me wonder if like this, this sort of stuff is why Luka doesn't really listen to coaches at this point. But the real thing is like when you play 100 basketball games, which is basically what you do from October 1st until June, you think about how you're around those people all the time. You have to like one another.
It's a marriage. You're married to 20 people. Like you're literally married. They're your family. And
you only have so many bullets in the chamber to be able to make a difference before somebody stops listening to you. I mean, I run into this as editor of a website of like half-assed volunteers where it's like the last 20, well, I mean, some of us are paid, but it's like lightly compensated is my point, where it's like how do I motivate anyone to write if I don't want to write? Like, I'm tired of this too. I'm sure kids tired. And so it's like, I feel for the whole situation. It's a very frustrating thing to be a part of, but.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I appreciate you, what you're doing. I'll be in here in the coming days just to see just how low we can go. And for everyone in the chat, man, just remember, nobody died.
Yep. Nobody died. Okay. It's true. Nobody's dead yet. All right, Jason. Thanks so much. Yep. Wow. Good Lord. I stopped paying attention for a second. We're going to go. So, all right, I'm going to get to everybody. And there are now like 15 people waiting. So let's go. Coming up next is Joel. I don't know if Joel's joined us before. So, Joel, welcome to the show. How are you? If you're in the chat, pull out to the, hit the back button in the top left, and the unmute button will be on the bottom next to speaker requests.
All right. Got you.
Awesome.
Can you hear me? Well, first of all, I used to be on Twitter, and I kind of didn't like you.
I don't like that. God, I'm awful on Twitter.
But since you started doing these chats and the podcasts and everything, I've grown to love your commentary, and I love the whole team that you guys have writing. I read too many basketball articles, and you guys bring me hope and pull me off the ledge quite frequently, and I really appreciate it.
Well, that's very kind of you to say, Joel. I really appreciate that. So what are we thinking today on a day where I feel like I'm on the ledge?
Well, I think there's so many problems with this team, but I think one of the biggest things is the refusal to go young. They got Luka, and everybody said the timeline was accelerated, and it was like, we have to get these vets, get more vets. Mm-hmm. And now everybody on the team that plays is like over 30, and they are showing the age like so drastically. And I was saying back in January, start Hardy and Green and just roll with it. Let them play. Let them grow with Luka, and the whole vets thing. It's like they refused to give Brunson a $55 million deal when he was clearly worth it at the end of the last season. It's like you just signed the guy. And instead, now they just signed Maxey to another $10+ million a year deal.
God, I forgot they extended Maxey. Shit.
Yeah. So it's like all these old guys are like, yeah, you're cool, you're old, you're with us. And it's like, oh, give them another deal. They're probably going to extend Bullock if they don't trade him. It's like, no, stop, just stop. They need to get rid of all these old guys. Anybody on the team that's over 30 should be coming to play with Luka, signing on a minimum deal, saying, I want a ring chase. Let's go get Luka with his group of guys under 25 that are about to go in their primes, instead of like surrounding Luka with these like older brother / father figures. Now with Kyrie, sign him or sign and trade him or whatever. it is what it is. He's a great player. But they got to get off these old dudes. I mean, especially old dudes making 10, 12, 14 million a year. It's just ridiculous. The league has passed them by. There's at least 100 good players under 25, and they're available. They're moving in trades. They're getting signed in free agency. There's a center not playing right now that's 25, released from Chicago, who backed up Joel Embiid and did a good job. I forget his name, but they just flat out cut him, and he's at home eating popcorn, watching the league. And he's better than what we have as a center, and they're just not releasing the guy. I don't know. It's just so frustrating that they're stuck on this old man mentality, you know.
I do. I understand, because my frustration has been watching some of the true contenders in the league. Your Milwaukee Bucks are probably the highlight example for me. Denver, to an extent, is good at this. The margins of your, and I think about this in relation to running the Mavs Moneyball website and doing the podcast that we do. It's any business. The margins matter over a long enough timeline. And the Mavericks have just not cared about the margins. They haven't. They signed 2016, 15-ish, where they got like Dorian and Maxey and those guys as youths. That's caring about the margins in hitting. 7 years later, I don't feel like we're there. I feel like we have all these really ridiculous contracts they've signed and guys they've brought in. Like, it's not his fault, but Theo Pinson is just emblematic of the problem for me, where it's like, yeah, he's a vibes merchant for a team that's under 500. What a pointless position. It's like being I'm trying to think of like a decent comp where it's like, somebody responsible for HR of like a prison, where it's like, hey, we're responsible for everybody's well-being and happiness, but hey, the job sucks. So it's really frustrating to watch. And I've been whining about it for years, and I was probably wrong a fair amount of time, but at a certain point, I feel like this is the year where the margins have caught up with them at all the worst ways. I mean, the Mavericks have not won many games since the new year. Like, they've been drowning in 6 inches of water.
Yeah, 100%. And as far as, you've brought up many times that the season's too long. I know Luka loves playing ball for Slovenia in the offseason, but somebody needs to tell him that, you need to work on you. And I mean, that's going to be a hard conversation, and I don't know if it'll work.
I don't think it will, because he's it's so important to his identity, the same way it was to Dirk, in a way that I don't think we really appreciated until later, because our country is just so good at basketball. But if he's going to do this, that's why I think like shutting him down now makes sense. Like just, we're not going anywhere. Yeah. Like, let's let him do the thing that's extremely important to him. I mean, he has said that winning like a gold medal in the Olympics is more important to him than winning not a gold medal, but a medal in the Olympics would rank higher than winning an NBA championship. I respect that. So let's work with him within the framework to help him do what he wants and give him the best opportunity to do those things, while also giving him the best opportunity to win an NBA championship. And I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan for football, and I feel I'm really blessed there getting to watch Mahomes. And watching the Mavericks screw up the equivalent of having a superstar quarterback on a rookie contract it's killing me. It's killing me.
It really is pretty terrible. The Kristaps trade, I liked it at the time, but that one screwed up, and now they've done it with Kyrie again. I mean, they got a deal on Kyrie. Hopefully he sticks around, or we're able to sign and trade him. But they got to get younger. They got to offload some of these contracts and get rid of. They only have 4 years now before Luka's like able to just walk?
To walk, yeah, let alone like I think it's like I think it's not 23-24, but 24-25 where he could really make noise. I mean, realistically, never mind. I don't want to go down this dark of a path. Joel, thank you for hanging out. You got anything else for us?
No, not really. I'll just listen to the rest of it. And I am one of those guys that listens to the end, so I appreciate you calling us out, listening to the very end of the recording.
Well, it makes me happy because it's like, I know I get to like halfway through the low post or something like that, and I'll just, okay, this doesn't interest me anymore, and I'll skip ahead. But like the people who really do listen, you know, that's my favorite. So I'm really glad grateful that you're a listener, Joel.
Well, thank you guys very much, and y'all have a great weekend.
Talk soon. Let's go with let's try Max. We're going to try Max again. He said he didn't mean to come up before, but I'm guessing he did now.
Kirk, you there?
I am. Welcome back.
Hey, sorry about that earlier. But I did provide you with a pretty good metaphor for how this season has gone with my grain. So maybe I shouldn't apologize.
Yes. So what do you got for us today?
Well, you know, I'll kind of keep it short, but again, this all starts and stops with someone who takes zero accountability, and that's Mark Cuban. Has, from the very beginning, a guy that learns no lessons because he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. And it is, I mean, he hit lightning in a bottle in 2011, and then all the lessons he could have learned from that team, he thought he was too smart, so he deconstructed the whole thing because he was chasing a shiny object, and that has basically continued ever since. You have a repeat of mistake after mistake. He has one great draft in 20 years and loses half that draft because they sign a bad contract, players able to get out of it early, and then we don't want to spend the money on said players. So you have a coach you have an owner who's not accountable. You hire a notoriously unaccountable coach, and now we're dealing with a superstar. It's always everyone else's fault for everyone that's important with this organization. You know, Cuban always blames the refs. Kid, it's the players he's just watching. Luka flips out every single time things aren't going exactly his way. And, he's younger. I'm going to give him a lot more leeway. He is an incredible player. But it's, this is probably the most disappointing sports team I've ever watched. And I'm an Aggie. I'm a Cowboy fan. I think this team really takes the cake of the most disappointing, frustrating team I have ever followed.
Man, that's quite the indictment, being both an Aggie and a Cowboy fan.
Yes. So I have been through pain. I have been through sorrow, and man, these Mavericks really just find new way. And it's a really crazy team this year. I'd like to hear you talk a little bit more about this. That play any games that don't come down to the last minute. You can play the 76ers, and they're going to play up to their opponent, and it's going to come down to the last minute. It's either great or it's going to be bad. But it's the same thing that you can be playing San Antonio down 3 starters, Charlotte down 4 starters. Name your bad team down 2 or 3 starters, and it is going to be a 20-point lead for one of the teams at some point in the game, and then all comes down to the last 2 minutes.
You're right about that. I just looked this up. So this doesn't account for today's game. So I'm going to include today's game in the record. The Dallas Mavericks have played 50 clutch games this year. Clutch game is a clutch game, for anybody who has forgotten, is a game within 5 points within 5 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, so you see why this is more frustrating than my Aggie season. We just get the hell kicked out of us. And so this is what you have. It's the heart attack of every single game that's going to take years off of all of our lives.
Oh yeah, it's the Ronin gif from Endgame where he's saying, "Don't give me hope."
Right. Yeah. Every single time they bring you back in, and just it ends up the same way it ends up tonight. And a lot of it goes back to the way they built the team. And this is why it's so frustrating to not get more run players like Hardy and Green who can actually do something besides catch and shoot. Because they created an entire team of non-basketball players, or players that play a single role. And so it all comes down to 3-point variance. And when you're not hitting, they don't have an offense besides ISO.
Right.
They don't have a way to manufacture buckets. When Golden State, who everyone thinks of as the 3-point shooting team, they have an offense that manufactures layups. And so when they're not hitting, they can go Draymond in the high post. They have cutters, and they're hitting you back door and getting layups. Whereas the Mavericks, it's if Luka and Kyrie can't get to the rim, it's hope to hit threes.
Whee! Well, thanks so much, Max. You got anything else?
No, I'll let you get on. I said I was going to be short, and then I took.
Oh, it's fine, man. That's what therapy's for. You talk out your problems.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, man. Talk soon.
Thank you. Have a
Okay, now we're going to bring on my man Rolo. Oh, nope, click the wrong button. Grayson, you're first, then Rolo. What's up, Grayson? How you doing?
Hey, I'm all right. All things considered, hope is gone now, so I don't really feel anything. I'm just in like the acceptance stage of grief. Like,
right.
And it's kind of funny sometimes actually watching them, like, because they're so predictable that it's just like, oh, I've seen this before, and you kind of crack a smirk sometimes. Like, I'm kind of at that phase, but also like the Longhorns are, about to play in the Elite Eight, which is helping me a lot.
Hey, that's fun.
Yeah, welcome. Anyway, I'll make it quick because I want to watch that game. Where are you at on the Luka asking out DEF CON? I think I'm at like DEF CON 2 at this point.
I'm still I'm still kind of calm about it because number one, no European superstar has ever asked out. So we got that going for us. Basically no non-American superstar has ever asked out is a better way to phrase that. Granted, the list of non-American superstars is not particularly like there's not a massive number of them, but I think one of the things that makes Luka is his commitment and loyalty. But if the Mavericks continue to fail, I don't think any of us would blame him. So
I just think that they have put themselves in a position where it could get really bad really quickly. And I think
you mean like right now, how we're 3 games under 500 with no hope?
Yeah, no, I mean, they've already done that, but I'm saying like, think about, the off season. Like, I just think it's hilarious that their biggest asset is now entering unrestricted free agency, which like, they are so historically bad in, like, it's God, it's there's some kind of poetic justice to it, I think. But I don't know. It's just maybe they'll re-sign Kyrie or pull off some kind of a sign and trade, and we'll be okay, and they'll sink into the lottery. But like you just said, they've never dropped in the lottery ever. So it's like, okay, it's rough right now. It is. I'm just like I said, acceptance stage, Like I'll just watch what happens now,
That's right. Right.
I just wanted to ask like where you were at on that. I'm starting to panic a little bit, but if you're still feeling all right, and I do agree that Lucas seems like a loyal guy, I'll think about that. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Well, good luck to your Longhorns. Hope you have fun there.
Yeah. I'm so excited. I hope everyone else has like a good day too. It's bad times right now, guys. I know.
And if you're an HBO fan, Succession is on tonight, so there's some good things to look forward to.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we got other things. It's okay. It's gonna be okay, guys. All right.
Talk soon. Okay, we're gonna go Rolo now. Hey guys, how you doing, my friend? If you guys don't know, Rolo hosts a pregame space on Twitter.com with my friend Jazz and Jose.
Hey, what's up, Kirk? How you doing, man?
I'm good. What you think?
Man, I had committed to hosting the 77 Spaces today, but I didn't realize that we had an early game.
I've done that before.
So I was at church. I was actually trying to pray the bad juju away. It didn't seem to work. So yeah, man, I'm here. At this point, like we mentioned in the in the chat and stuff, I just think I'm all right with however the season ends. I don't think I think that a lot of people have already said it. The Mavs aren't really doing much in the playoffs anyway, if they were to make it, the play-in or playoffs. So I just think that it's just better to, I just don't trust them, like Jason said and some other people said. I don't trust them to do the full tank, but at the same time, I just don't know which way you go from here. The question I had for you, man, to be honest, and this has been on my mind for a long time, I just hadn't hadn't shared it, is do players and agents really mess with Cuban? And what I mean by that is, because I mean, obviously Cuban is the one that's going to make the decision at the end. I know that Nico's the general manager, but let's be honest, Cuban is the one that signs the checks. So I'm just curious about that, because I know that there's been a lot of people that have, he thought, good grace a long time ago with certain players, but I feel like all of those players are already gone. And it's just, I don't know, man. It's just a, cataclysmic from the front office, from the management, from everything that's happened behind the scenes and everything all the way down. It's just been bad. And I just don't see which way the Mavs pivot to now. And do you really want the Mavs to sign Kyrie to that extension? Because, I mean, that really limits us. Otherwise, I mean, I think we're limited either way. But, anyway, yeah. I'll jump off, man, and let you answer it. Appreciate it.
Sure. The agent stuff is impossible for me to know, but I do know part of why they brought in Kid and Nico was I think there was a bit of an acknowledgement that having white head coach, white general manager, white active owner, all of them in their, if not their 60s, close to it, was not really the way. It's not dissimilar from college basketball, where it's like you need to be able to relate to recruits. So there's that sort of element. I do think that, the Mavericks signing or drafting a clutch guy in Jaden Hardy is a step back in that direction. The Mavericks did not have a clutch client for a real long time. I mean, money talks in most respects. I don't know, I have my opinions on what I think like the reputation of the Mavericks are right now, and I don't think it's particularly good, but that can change. As to the other question, you asked me one more thing, and what was it? And Rolo, I don't remember. I'm sorry, I'm brain dead. All right, let's come up a couple other folks. Henry, welcome, Henry. What's going on? Give Henry a second to find the unmute button there. And in the meantime, about the Kyrie signing, it was basically, I think the Mavericks have to do it, because if you give up a 2029 pick and you don't re-sign him, that's just an utter waste of an asset. I don't care how far out it is. Henry, if you cannot find the unmute button, if you're in the chat, you pull yourself out of the chat button in the top left corner, and then the mute is on the bottom of the phone screen. So maybe give him a few more. So there we go.
Yes.
Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I'm good. But these guys are a mess right now,
Yes. Mess is an understatement.
But I think the problem is like everyone is blaming Kyrie for everything, like it's the only problem. It's not the only problem, you understand?
I mean, not us here. Like there was a weird TMZ article yesterday that attributed Luka's quotes to Kyrie when it's like he never said anything about Kyrie. And Tim McMahon, ESPN reporter, also made a statement of his own. He's like, I've been around this team since the whole time. Like, there's been nothing but praise for Kyrie. So this is entirely like defense based.
It's like the history, It's like Kyrie's history, like Boston, Cleveland,
sure,
Brooklyn. So everyone is blaming him for everything. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like Luka is bad defensively. Kyrie is bad defensively. All the defenders are older. They can't defend. Like Bullock, he can't defend anyone.
I mean, team defense is atrocious. They can't guard. That's like they went away from their two big lineup today, and they were playing one big again, and they got killed in the paint. At a certain point, it really stops mattering if you can score at will. If you can't, if you just give it right back up, and that's why they lost today.
These guys, they made Gordon Hayward and PJ Washington look like,
oh my God, just knifing into the lane. It was killing me because the Mavericks get up. I want to say it was like 96-95 or something like that.
Yes, for like 90
and then
seconds.
the Hornets just scored 7 straight and the game was over. And it's like, come on, just do it. Like, have a little pride once. And they just get diced. Like, there's no defensive cohesion on this team, and that's a team thing. Because it's watching every single defender get beat by one dribble. It just drives me crazy.
And everyone acts like Maxi Kleber is a savior. He can't do anything. He's just there.
Yeah, it's awful. So, well, Henry, do you got anything else for us today?
Nothing.
No.
I'm good. But what do you think they should do this offseason?
They have so many problems, I don't even know where to start. Because I think you have to lock down Kyrie. That would be, if they do that, if they get him under contract, I think that's at least you can start from there and say, okay, how do we build around Luka and Kyrie? I think you have to have a different defensive big. They have to have somebody. I don't know who and I don't know how, but getting killed on the boards this badly every game is driving me nuts.
I think they had like 15 offensive rebounds or something.
That's right. So fixing that stuff, I don't know. I would really like to see a lot of the roster get moved out if they can figure it out. Like they can't come back.
Wood is up free again.
Yeah, that stuff kills me. Churn the roster, as Ryan says in the chat. Well, thank you, Henry, for hanging out. All right, hope you come back sometime. Talk soon. Let's go with, now we're here with a lot of my regulars. So we're gonna fly through. Oliver, you're calling in at a good time of evening, I hope.
Yes, it's only 10 o'clock, so not too bad for myself.
Welcome.
Oh, I'm toxic, Kirk, but this was a good win for the team tank. But it's going to be, I've looked at, and this is sad, I've looked at the Jazz and the Chicago schedule, and they've got some tough games, and the Jazz are in full tank mode as well. Like, Markkanen, I don't know if he's played the last few games, don't know how long he's going to be out for, but they're probably going to sit him for the season. So that's
the Bulls are currently beating the hell out of the Lakers. I think that the Bulls still want to really. I think the Bulls are going to make a playoff, like a play-in playoff push. Like they are desperate because they don't have any picks. Like they're screwed either way.
Yeah. Because I think theirs is top 10 as well to the Magic. I think that's top 10 protected for the Magic. So, they've got the Levine and DeRozan, so they probably told them that their goal is to make the playoffs as well. But we need them to do some wins. For me, they need to. I don't think Kyrie will play tomorrow because I don't think he's well enough. He doesn't look fit. Let's be honest.
No, his foot hurts. He's trying. His post game quotes are like, "I want to win. I want to play."
Yeah, he's trying, but he's clearly not right. So I imagine they sit him tomorrow, and obviously with Luka getting his suspension, that's an L. Let's face it. Rick is always going to try and.
The Pacers have been doing some magnificent tanking of their own.
Yeah, but Rick, we know what it looks like. He's stubborn, so he'd sacrifice tanking to beat the Mavs. Let's face it.
We'll see.
It's Rick. Anytime he can get one over former employees, he's always down.
Yeah.
But I think the overhaul of the roster. I think the problem is they don't have any assets to overhaul that roster. Like, no one's going to want to take on Bertans' multi-year deal, Tim Hardaway's. Like, there's no avenues, and that's why if Kyrie walks, if Wood walks, and they don't keep their pick, it's bleak. It's bleak. But I appreciate you, Kurt. Always listen on to the end. Was listening at about 2 a.m. last night. The Hornets win, and Hornets lost. Sorry, but we'll keep going. But that's why
till the bitter end.
Yeah, thanks, Kurt. Appreciate it.
Talk soon. Let's go with my man Adrian. Hey, Adrian.
Hey, Kirk. How are you doing? Oh my God, this is so depressing. Who would have thought at the beginning of the season that the Mavs wouldn't even make it to the play-in? Like, this is how bad it's been.
Right.
So bad. I think it's time to embrace the tank, shut it down for the season. Clearly, Luka is not in a good spot right now, both physically and mentally. Kyrie also has some, lingering injuries. So, yeah, I would say, embrace the tank, get that top 10 pick locked in, and keep building for the future. What I wanted to ask you, so assuming we do land a top 10 pick, what kind of player profile would you go after? Because we have so many holes in the team. So clearly we need to prioritize something. Yeah. So what would you think that should be?
Well, the challenge right now with like the NBA draft, and you look at like projections, and obviously things can really change. When you look at the guys that are on like the top 10, everyone is a wing to a guard, with like the Wembanyama being a key exception, and then this guy Jarris Walker out of Houston is a power forward ish type. Everyone else is wing guardy type guy. And me, what I want best player available. I mean, I'm scrolling through and I look at guys, and like I've followed this kid in Arkansas named Anthony Black. I followed him since he was a freshman in high school because he went to my high school for most of his career. And there's just guys like there's real. So, I mean, Cam Whitmore out of Villanova, like there's some real dudes in this draft. And that's like the top 3 I'm obsessed with. Like Brandon Miller, he's a little older, so he's going to be 21 by the time the year starts. And like, I love the Thompson twins. Like my problem, man, is I love the draft. I love the draft. I go insane over the draft, and the Mavericks just haven't had picks. I mean, I spent the year before we got Luka going nuts over all the guys. Like I was making arguments for every single player. I have tweets to where I wanted who's the guy that got traded to the Nets that was a Phoenix wing. What's wrong with me right now? Nets roster. Bridges. I loved Mikal Bridges to death. I just loved him as a player. I wanted the Mavericks to take him at 5. So it's tough for me because if we're to actually get a pick, I would have a field day with this. Now, granted, I don't know shit. I've not paid attention to this draft at all outside of just following some of these guys for a long time because of a couple of dudes I play video games with that are like draft nuts. So that's where my
Okay. And
Sure.
just one other thing, I think we need to be prepared for Luka to get a lot of criticism from not only the media but other fan bases.
100%.
There's going to be narratives about Luka cannot even make it to the playoff and so on. So I don't know. Hopefully this fuels him to get in shape and just be the best version of himself he can be. Yeah, because clearly. We all love Luka, but I think but by now we're all aware of his weaknesses.
He's entered the villain stage of his career to a degree where he's been so highly he's lauded and praised, and when the team has this happen, you're right. You're exactly right. There's going to be a lot of criticism. Well, thanks so much, Adrian. Appreciate you hanging out.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you.
All right, we're going to go next to my man Tyron. Hey, Tyron, what's up?
Hey, sorry about that, Kirk. What's going on?
Welcome back. What you thinking? Sorry you had to wait so long.
Oh, no, it's fine. I'm glad we got some new blood in the chat this time.
I like it too.
I personally just want to thank you for what you do every time we win or lose a game, because as a fan, I'm becoming.
Did we lose you? There we are. Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. It just faded out for a minute.
Yeah. No, I was just saying I've been getting really frustrated with media as of late, and I appreciate you for what you do because you're, like you say, you're the radio-free Mavericks. I really do appreciate that.
I'm glad you appreciate it because my wife is sometimes like, "Why do you do this, you weirdo?" And I tell her,
well, you do it for people like me, and I'm pretty sure I can speak for the rest of us in the chat room. So I appreciate it. But the way the season is going right now, it is what it is. I'm not even mad anymore. We saw this coming. I don't think we all saw it coming to this degree necessarily, but we knew what it was. Let's be honest with ourselves. But
yes,
what's frustrating me is when I go on Google. And type in, the Dallas Mavericks trying to catch up on what's going on, things that don't get discussed in the chat or whatever. When I start seeing stuff like this is all Kyrie Irving's fault.
Hate it. I hate it.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, like that's clearly from people that aren't even watching, and I am willing to criticize Kyrie. I'm very like that's something that I have no problem doing. But this has nothing to do with him. Just nothing to do with him.
Yeah, it frustrates me too because I mean these are the same people. I don't care if I get backlash for this or not. These are the same group of people that were saying Jalen Brunson needs to go last season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is the same group of people that were saying Dennis Smith Jr., mind you, the guy who destroyed us 2 games in a row now, he needs to go.
Right.
You know what I mean? At some point, it's stop. Take the rose-colored glasses off and really look at the situation at hand here. We have a coaching problem, we have a front office problem, and we have a roster management problem.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like all the other stuff, and players have their own individual problems. I'm not going to go into that because, again, at this point in the season, it doesn't even matter. But I get really irritated and frustrated with media. You know what I mean? Like we have national media who still call Luka Doncic.
Yeah, hate that too.
I want to hear your opinion, guy. Anyway, that's all I got. At this point, I got my lawn chair sitting in front of the AAC with a bottle of beer, just waiting for it to go up in flames at this point. So we'll see what happens. Stay tuned.
Thanks so much for hanging out. Okay, then we're going to go to Sam. Sam, welcome to the show. Give Sam a minute. Sam might have fallen asleep. He's been with us from the start. Well, Sam, come back when you're ready. Let's go with Ewan. What's up, my guy?
Hey, what's up, man?
How you doing?
Good. I could have, went to the pool with the kids, but decided to stay up and watch the game, so that was a bad choice.
Yes? Yeah, I went to my son's Little League game, and my wife's like, you don't have to come. He plays a ton of these games. I'm like, we'll be, there's only so many of these kids sports games, so you gotta hang out with the kids though. It's
yeah, you gotta hang out with the kids. But yeah, I mean, regular stuff, just the lack of talent on our roster, Powell started center. And it's like with that issue, it's just like, okay, you play him a certain amount of minutes in the first quarter, you clearly see it's not working. You go to a completely different lineup for the rest of the game. That give you a better shot. Why not start with that lineup every game? So like just the concept is just, like I've said in the last group therapies, like if you start with that lineup in a way, we're gonna always be in a deficit to start the game. Those first 6-7 minutes, you're always gonna be sacrificing our team being a whole offensively. But I mean, that's just a all season thing. The main thing I got from this game today was clearly we see that Luka's going through some stuff, whatever it may be, we don't know. And today was a game where I felt like, from watching the video of his press conference last, you can see that he was kind of like he was about to get teary, in the video. Yeah. So, like, today was a game where I felt like you as teammates, you see that, you know what I'm saying? You see this player that's been giving his heart and soul all year, dragging you guys, 60-point triple-doubles, playing third quarter, playing fourth quarter, and you see that he's going through stuff. You see that he's about to tear up, talking about whatever it is.
Right.
And this will be a game where you guys go out and ball out for your guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, pick your guy up. Like, do your best you can to pick your guy up. That didn't happen. He still had to go out there and drop 40, 12. It's like, it's crazy that the team that we have can't manage a Luka off night. Like, it's bad roster construction. It really is to this point. It's just bad.
Yeah.
Bad. I don't know what else to say. It's just, I was just hoping, someone else show some fight. Like Louis in the second quarter, you saw him, kind of go to that mode. Like this is what he's capable of. Like, he could just flip a switch and he could just be dominant.
Yes.
But it would be great if somehow our role players can give us what other team role players give them. Even if it's just for 1 minute, like Thor, 2 3-pointers in a row. Over that light-skinned guys that came off the bench, 2 3-pointers in a row. Like, something to that aspect on a consistent basis, then we wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, and that's what makes these road things different, because, like, role players play better at home, and the Mavericks need these wins when they're starting a 5-game road trip. So it's just like, we're just not getting it. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. I mean, I'm pretty sure Luka don't want to sit out, but, I mean, That may be the best course of action. But then again, you look at it as like the team that's ahead of us that's in the play-in, the Lakers, they lose. And if we won this game, we'd have been ahead of them in the standings. We're back in the play. So it's like we could still tank it in, but it's like it's still a possibility to still make the play-in. So I was like, what do we want? What do we want as fans right now? What do we want?
Well, thanks so much for hanging out.
Thank you. I'm here tomorrow again. Let's do it.
That's right. Early game, at least. Early game. So we'll be here early. Thanks so much, man. Talk soon. Okay, let's go to Glenn. Glenn, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, all things considered, man.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of how I feel about the game.
Well, this is my first time on here being a part of it. I listen all the time, but great job. I appreciate all that you do.
Thanks so much, and I'm glad you decided to join us. We need more joiners. Do you guys hear that, folks? Anyways, what's going on? What are you thinking?
Okay, so here's my idea. One, I'm definitely worried about this team's ability to evaluate talent because we had, and I know how you feel about small guards, but Jason Terry's a small guard. They have a role. They have a role. So when we don't pick up someone like Dennis Smith Jr. and we desperately needed a ball handler and we go to his workout and we don't sign him and we do things like signing Kemba Walker and burning him into the ground, having him pay 40-something minutes. It's one, we don't do well with evaluating talent. And then when we do evaluate talent, we don't know how to use it. So that, I'm not going to beat the dead drum about fire Kid, but
right.
You didn't say it. I did. And I think it's kind of time to get rid of everyone. Trade everyone. I don't care if we get a second-round draft pick. Trade everyone.
Well, we don't have second-round draft picks for the next 7 years, so we could use a second-round draft pick.
Yeah. Let's see someone who's willing to take over that Tim Hardaway contract for a second-rounder. I don't care if it's the last pick in the second round.
Right. God. So you said something, and then it just fell out of my head. Oh, I know. A little bird told me that the Mavericks actually blew off the Dennis Smith Jr. workout and didn't actually go.
Of course they did. Let's hire Kemba Walker, who has zero knees and is older than 45 years old to play basketball. That sounds better.
Yeah. Gosh. Well, Glenn, you got anything else for us?
No, man, that's it. I'll get off your line. Thanks so much, though.
Please come back. Thanks for hanging out. All right, let's go to my man Micah. Micah, sorry to make you wait so long. You there? Micah was there, then he went away.
You got me, Kirk?
There we go. What's going on?
Oh, man. Well, I guess Team Tank is running victory laps.
I mean, is it I just keep saying, is it tanking if you just suck? That's my thought. We're not tanking. They're just bad.
It's organic. And it's for the same issues. It's funny you can really draw NFL comparisons to where you look at pretty much look at your running back and your tight end as what a center and a power forward are supposed to give you. I also became a Chiefs fan because my sanity can only handle one bad ownership group, and I'm from East Texas, so I'm going to root from Mahomes. That's just where I'm at. But watching a lot of his games, man, we are the Buffalo of the NBA. It is so obvious because just like with what Buffalo has done with Josh Allen, they have just looked at it he can do running back things, so we can just get some bums at running back and it's going to be okay. And now they are on, and because of that philosophy, they're on a real fast track to be the third best team in their division, maybe even fourth. And it's almost the same thing as Portland. It's I thought disaster scenario would be Atlanta, but it looks so much like Portland for the same reason because they never addressed their front court, and all they've worried about doing is doubling down on talent in the back court.
Right.
That's what we're doing now. Even with our G League guys, we're not developing forwards. We're not developing centers. Both of our G League guys that we have on the bench are guards. So, this is what it's going to be until they address that. This is what we're looking at. People can blame Kyrie, but at the end of the day, you can't ignore the fact that what got exposed in the Western Conference Finals series from last year, all 29 teams saw that. And that's how every single one of them is playing against you now. Everyone is just going to murder you in the paint and beat you on the glass. And they seen that, and they figured that the way to answer that was fucking Christian Wood and JaVale fucking McGee. And we're wondering why we're in this situation now. Somebody make it make sense.
It's very bad. That's the answer.
Right. And it's just, we can sit around and be upset about the Jalen Brunson situation, but my main thing, I'm not as mad about him walking as I am realizing that the biggest need on this team was right freaking there, and they probably would have rather gave him up since he's given – they're giving Mitchell Robinson like 1 to 2 field goal attempts a game.
Yeah.
If they're not going to use him, we sure could have used him, and they probably would have rather do that than salary dumping 4 guys and giving up draft capital to do so.
Isn't that great?
Well, I mean, we always say team building is hard, but when you're consistently missing the layups that are right in your face, that's on you at the end of the day.
I agree. I agree with that.
So, we will be Portland, and until they address the fact that there is not one person that plays front court for this team that is getting consistent minutes on a contender, then this is what we're looking at.
Well, thanks for hanging out as always, Micah. You got anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. I just think it's ridiculous that people consistently just say, "Oh, the duo is not working." It just shows that you don't know ball and you're not looking at every part of the concept of team that leads to winning.
I agree. Well, thanks so much, Michael. We'll talk soon.
All right, talk soon.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, in the chat, I just posted the link to our YouTube channel, which Josh and I are actually, we're going to start doing, video shows and things like that. It'll still show up in your podcast feed if you like listening to stuff in audio only. But I've kind of gotten indications that eventually Spotify Live will not be a thing. And a lot of people like YouTube, so you're going to have to see my ugly mug, and we're going to be doing live shows on StreamYard, which you can participate and come up just like you do in these things. I will probably, I'll be posting more information as we have it, as we're working on these things. It's a little, I don't really know what the hell I'm doing, but I also didn't know what the hell I was doing when I started this. So, I'll stumble through it in the dark as we figured these things out together. Coming up next, let's try Sam again. Hey, Sam.
Hey, what's going on? Sorry about earlier.
Shit happens.
Yeah, well, I think everybody's pretty much said what needs to be said at this point. Even though we're not even trying to tank, this team's just not good enough. Some games you can't even really blame Kidd, but I just think as far as the effort in these first quarters, it's unacceptable. I mean, you can't go down 30-12 in a must-win game. And somebody was talking about Cuban earlier about the way he asked him, in regard to free agents. You remember that time whenever they were playing the Thunder in the playoffs in 2016, and he said that Russ wasn't a superstar?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then KD clowned him 2 days later.
Yeah, it's shit like that. I mean, people don't forget that. I'm pretty sure agents, well, I don't know about agents, but players don't forget that. And just stuff like that goes around the league, and it's just kind of it builds and it builds and it builds. And I feel bad for Luka because, again, he had 30 last game. He had 40 today. He's obviously gone through some shit physically and mentally. And he still came out there and get him the ball down and try to do his best for the team to win. And we just don't let the horses. Like, Kyrie's hurt. I think I blame Kyrie because he's playing on one leg pretty much. When he was healthy, he saw falling before he got hurt again by Dylan Brooks. Or I won't say by Dylan Brooks, but it happened. And yeah, it's been a shit show. And like 1, 2, 3 Cancun. That's just
Oh, thank you so much for hanging out, buddy.
All right, have a good one.
All right. A couple more people, and then I'm going to go. Carlos, what's up?
Hey, Kirk, how's it going?
Welcome back. What you thinking?
I think that these last few games or last few weeks have really illustrated that the coaching staff and front office don't have a fundamental understanding of who Luka Doncic is as a player. It doesn't really make any sense where they played this exact same team 2 days ago, and Josh Green and Reggie Bullock were unwilling and unable to get off shots, but they still started them. And then they realized, oh, Tim's back. Let's get him in there in the second half. It was just like, why can you not adjust from game to game? How's there no fundamental understanding that Luka needs shooters out there to shoot the ball because he's one of the best passers and creators in the league? It just doesn't even add up. It's just frustrating, and it's frustrating that every guy, like people I mentioned, McKinley Wright and AJ Lawson and people they bring in aren't people that fit around Luka. Luka's gravitational pull is so big that everybody has to orbit around him. And adding guys that don't fit specifically to Luka seems like a waste.
I don't disagree. I sort of wonder what's happened with Josh Green these past 2 games. Like, his willingness to shoot whenever Luka doesn't play goes all the way up. And then Luka does play, and he's kind of timid. It's really weird.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, he got up 3 shots last game. This game, he got up 3 shots, 2 of them begrudgingly, and then he got pulled for the whole fourth. It was a really strange going, but you can't, if you're a coaching staff, you just can't play a guy that is afraid to take the shots when they're there, and it really sunk them. It just feels like the coaching staff can't get a handle around the guys that are there, regardless of the fact that they're flawed. They won games earlier this season. They weren't this bad.
No, they've gotten worse. Yeah.
These same guys were playing at 500 or above 500, and now they're just 7 games under 500 the last 3 weeks.
Death by paper cut. It's really painful.
Right. So I just feel like there's no end in sight, and I just don't know how to even think about them other than hoping they lose and we get lucky for the first time in franchise history. But
right,
that's where I am now.
Well, thank you, Carlos. Appreciate you coming on, and thanks for waiting. All right, let's go to my man Nav, and then Brian's going to close us out. Nav, what's happening?
Hey, I'm still mad at Jason Kidd.
Sure.
I'm, right, the job of the coach is X's and O's, leadership, right, pulling the team together, and to maximize the roster, however shitty a roster you may think it is, to maximize it to its full potential.
Yes.
He has not done any of those things this year. And the Mavs should not have this record despite all of the roster flaws. And all of the games that we were dropping at the early in the season where every team had an identity, right, every season. The Mavs never had an identity this year. And that starts with the coach, players starting and then coming off the bench, not knowing the roles, starting and playing 30 minutes one game, then not playing the next game. When Jaden Hardy being given the ball and told, hey, man, you're the man. Do everything for us. If you didn't do anything for us this game, we would have nothing because Luka and Kyrie are out. And then another game, it's 10 minutes off the bench.
That was today. Why did he play 10 minutes? What are we doing?
Yeah. So I'm still mad at Jason Kidd because despite all of the flaws, that everybody else has already talked about, we should at least minimum have like 5 more wins. And if we had 5 more wins, it would not be this much doom and gloom.
Couldn't agree more.
Right. So I'm still mad at Jason Kidd. I'm not letting it go. And I don't think I don't really have hope now for the future for the team, regardless of like roster stuff like that. Just if Jason Kidd is still here, yeah. If they were talking about championships when Kyrie came, and it's like you guys have no idea what the hell you're doing. It's really frustrating. I'm still mad at Jason Kidd, and I wanted to make that clear. Despite I know everybody's like, I can't even blame Jason Kidd now. No, I'm still blaming Jason Kidd because if it wasn't for him, if it wasn't for Jason fucking Kidd, we would not be in this current situation this season. We still wouldn't be title contenders. We probably wouldn't have gone to Western Conference Finals, any of that stuff. Yeah, I get it. And if that's your feeling, okay, fine. But it's not the roster. This season is because Jason Kidd did a terrible job.
I feel that, man. Well, thanks so much.
Yeah.
Okay, Brian, and then we had 2 more joiners that want to talk. So we're gonna go 3 more people, even though I think my wife might kill me. What's going on?
Exactly what I expected to go on is what's going on.
You really thought they were going to lose this one? I didn't think they'd do 2 in a row.
I quite literally in a Discord server 2 days ago said, yeah, they're going to lose at the minimum one of these Hornets games. They might just drop both.
Right.
I didn't expect it to look like this, but I was pretty sure they were going to lose at least one of these games because the Hornets play defense. The Hornets play hard. We don't do either of those things. So no matter how talented we are, that's kind of the difference. I didn't expect it to happen with both Luka and Kyrie playing, but Kyrie didn't really play. So,
Yeah, he's not right now. I feel bad for him.
Stepped on his foot.
Yeah.
It was amazing up till that point and has stunk since then. I think there's a clear line of demarcation that a lot of people are pretty conveniently ignoring.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, Kyrie Irving, you are a Dallas Maverick for at the very least the next season. Here's your 5-year max. Take that. Sit down. Luka Doncic, you are assigned bed rest for the next a month, and then after that, we're sending you to a personal training camp. We're getting your fat ass in shape.
We'll see what they do. I think he could use some rest. I really do. I'm worried insofar as that makes sense. So
he needs the rest. He also needs to work on his habits in his personal life.
Sure.
Not even it really just seems like the food. See, I don't know about him smoking. I've heard those rumors, but I don't know about that. And he wouldn't be the only NBA player I think that does that, so I wouldn't care about it. He really just needs to get his diet and his training together.
Yeah.
Because I know he's going to play again when international play comes up this summer. I think it's late in the summer. So I know he's going to do that. Until then, he needs to be working on his body. But Jaden Hardy, you're the starting point guard. Josh Green, you're the starting shooting guard. Josh Green uses time. Get your shit together. Dwight Powell, Frank Ntilikina, Theo Pinson, Jason Kidd, ni hao.
Well, thanks so much, Brian. All right.
Thank you, bro.
Katie in the chat says he's going to be playing in Slovenia and y'all are going to be mad. He is, Katie, but I don't think they start anything for World Cup stuff. They probably won't start training until July. So if the Mavericks miss the playoffs, that's 100, maybe 85, 90 days off. And I bet he hasn't had that many days off in forever. Well, that's when the games start in August, but I wonder when end of August. So it's training, that sort of thing. Anyhow. All right, let's go to my man Doe, and then Brandon is going to close us out. What's happening, Doe? Give him a minute to pull out of the chat. Talk to us here.
Hey, Kirk.
What's up?
What's up? Hey, really appreciate you doing the podcast, and Mavs Moneyball's been doing a great job with writing and stuff. But
in 1 mile,
I predicted
exit right. I predicted the situation early in the year that these close games will be decided by the coaching. What are we? 50 clutch games, and what is our winning percentage? The NBA is so razor thin that coaching really decides so much. In half a mile, and keep left. I really don't
think
that Luka's loyalty should.
We're getting your GPS.
Yeah.
We're getting your GPS.
Oh wow, sorry. But it's insane, though. I mean, Luka's loyalty should be with the Mavericks first and foremost. I could really give a shit about him in Slovenia. I mean, we're paying him $50 million a year for him to be a fat turd, and then we have a coach who can't make him accountable. I would have benched his ass and made a statement to shock the whole team. You know, if he's not producing the way he should be, you know, he's selectively wanting to play just offense and not being accountable, you know, and then bitching about the refs. You know, if I was kidding the coach, I would have made a statement, benching his ass and then calling him out for the stupid shit things that he did. But, of course, we don't have any kind of leadership that will do that, you know, because really what does kid have left to lose? Nothing.
All right, my man. I appreciate you.
All right, my man. I
appreciate
appreciate
you.
you. I'm getting feedback, too, so I'm going to mute.
All right. Sorry about that.
That is okay. He's clearly driving. Outstanding GPS. I do understand your frustration, but part of having Luka is understanding he's going to play for Team Slovenia, and we can't really do much about that. But I think that there's a lot that he can do. I think he'll, maybe this is a take your medicine year for the Mavericks, and maybe it's a year for Luka where if he I think he does want to be one of the best. I think he wants to be the best player on earth, and so. You know, maybe this is the off season where he finally gets a little rest, a little rehab, get his body in a place where he's happy, goes and starts off the year with Slovenia in the World Cup. They go win something, then he bounces right into the Mavericks regular season, and we can win some games. Brandon, what's happening?
Kirk, LeBron plays in the Drew League every year. I think the difference is LeBron produces during the season. So I kind of wonder if the outcome was different, if people feel different. But, I understand people's frustration. But real quick, man, you were talking about earlier the draft picks of the Mavericks. And I was looking to see, kind of their draft history. And it's crazy because out of all the draft picks since 1980, the only notable people I can name off are Harper, Perkins, Tarpley, Jimmy Jackson, Jason Kidd. And this is first round. Jimmy Jackson, Jason Kidd, Josh Green, and Kelly Olynyk. And these are people that they didn't trade because, granted they traded, Mark Price and other people, Trae Young, so on and so forth. But these are people that actually, stayed on and played on the Mavericks. But to date, the only one that's actually stayed with the Mavericks is Josh Green. Harper left, Perkins left, Tarpley left, Jimmy Jackson left, Jason Kidd left, and obviously Kelly Olynyk left. So if Josh Green's leave the same time around when Luka could leave, then, that's just a track record of Dallas having, terrible luck with first-round picks. So it's crazy that you only got, since 1980, you got 7 notable picks, and out of those, nobody really – Harper came back and played a while after.
Josh Howard stayed around for a while. Marquise Daniels was and Devin Harris were around for a little while. I mean, but I know what you mean. It's a lengthy history.
It is a lengthy history of it, yeah, and it's kind of implication of kind of how those guys just, I don't know, it's just an organization, that people just don't stay around. I'm pretty sure that every team has that problem, but I just found it interesting. And one more thing, man, Williams, man, a 7-foot dude just cooked those guys, and it's just sad how you got a 7-foot dude that doesn't even play, hasn't probably played since probably played 2 minutes since the break. And he can't even get on the floor to, fill up the space to stop him. I mean, Williams just kind of did what he wanted to do. So I don't know. If I was to start over to get a do-over, I would definitely try to put a big on the side of Luka and or Kyrie, because somebody has to fill that space, if anything, and try to, bring on some type of defensive presence.
Well, thanks so much for joining us again and waiting for so long, Brandon. We'll talk soon, all right?
Thank you, Kirk.
Okay, guys, I got to go. I think my wife is mad at me. I've been doing this for 2+ hours post game. So I'm going to go hang out with my family. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast, all that good stuff. Josh and I will be back tomorrow night. Everybody be good and go Mavs.